VR games like Half-Life Alyx or Boneworks are phenomenal. They are some of the most creative and innovative games to ever come out. And with a rumoured VR Horizon game, it leaves me wondering, with such an expensive price of entry into VR, is it really okay to lock sequels behind a paywall that the working class just can't afford, making it impossible for them to enjoy the games they like? I may have just the evidence needed to answer the question, are VR games anti-working class? No. What? No, did you expect me to say yes? Come on man, have some faith. Anyway, this video is about creative expression. This is a topic that I find quite hard to come to a consensus on because I'm of two minds, where I believe that creators of a game should be able to make whatever sort of game they want without fear of alienating their potential audience, for that's what makes true art. And on the other side, I think putting a difficulty setting on Dark Souls doesn't negate the desired effect because you can still get the feeling of helplessness by putting it on the harder difficulty. But on the other hand, I'd still say that doing this would negate the whole Dark Souls of the blank genre thing. Yet on the other hand, I'd say who cares? Every time I hear Souls-like, it makes me want to rip my eyes out and play table tennis with them. So that would be a good thing if I lost meaning, and you can see where this whole thing goes. It's an endless battle, it's just a debate that never ends, really. Pathologic is one of my favourite games of all time, and you should never buy it because it's unbelievably terrible. Everything in this game is designed to make you frustrated, uneasy, scared, bored, angry. If it can make you feel a negative emotion, the devs try to make you feel it. This isn't a game, it's a pain simulator. And on the occasion which, spoiler alert, you actually get to talk to the devs in game, they basically tell you, yeah, we've just been screwing with you the entire time. And earlier, you learned that everything that has happened in the game was just in the imagination of two kids in a sandpit. You can complain to the devs about how unsatisfying a twist this is, and they basically just tell you to suck up. The game was always fiction, and you knew that, so why are you getting upset now that the game agrees with you? God, I really love this game. I really want to make a review of it as well, but there is no way I'm playing it again. I have went through enough stress over it already, and I'm not doing that again. Though, again, kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum, that caters to an easygoing audience way too much, is Final Fantasy XV. Take the Leviathan fight, a really huge moment in the story. As you can see, this is a huge battle, and it's important to the story, as the main love interest just kind of sacrificed herself for some reason. I don't know, the plot isn't that memorable. Anyway, you'd like to think that you're pulling off some crazy combos in this footage, with all the shit that's going on, chaining together aerial attacks, using teleportation skills, all that type of shit, you know, like you were playing DMC5. Nah, he's holding B. He's holding down B. That's it. That's all he's doing. That's all you do for the entire game, you just hold down B and you win. I genuinely have not played an easier game in my entire life. Any sense of challenge that is in the game is gone because of it. I feel no tension at all. Last time I played it was actually a few years ago, but I remember vividly that the only time I died was when I ran out of Phoenix Downs. This completely drains any tension from the game, which affects the story. Like, why should I be scared of the fight against Arden when I know that all I'm going to be doing is holding down B and healing myself? With Dark Souls, I think it's really important that the game doesn't have any accessibility options. It's very clear that the developers want to make a game where despair... Oh god, I hate saying that word. I know every time I say it, a Dangonronpa fan gets a half chop. Is felt through the atmosphere, visual style, story, music, and gameplay, and they succeed with flying colours. I think making the game easier and more accessible would ruin this. If the game wasn't overbearing through the gameplay, sure, you'd still have the cool atmosphere, but it would be like the medium, which is to say surface level and boring. Although, on the other hand, there are games like the SMT series, which without the easier difficulties, I would have never made it through them. Hell, I still find the easy difficulties hard sometimes. Also, since we're here, please remember to like the video and subscribe, because that last statement will get me a ton of hate from the SMT Puritans, so I'ma need your love to counteract that. These games are so unbelievably hard to me, especially since they're the only turn-based RPGs that I have played, except for Yakuza 7, since I played Pokemon Red back when I was, I don't know, 6, something like that. But I love these games, particularly 4, and I wouldn't have been able to experience them if I didn't have an easy mode, because, you know, I just die. Like a lot. No, seriously, like I would never win a fight. Most people wouldn't either. You could be max level in this game, facing off, I don't know, some level 20 scrub, and if you aren't 5-braining this man, if you aren't 6 steps ahead, he's gonna win. It's gonna kill you. Because it'll just target your weaknesses, and it'll just win the game. It'll just kill you. That's just the type of game this is. You could be, what, 80 levels, 79 levels ahead of it, and it'll still murder you because you're not playing it right. SMT has a reputation of being one of the hardest RPGs, but it's not because it's actually hard, it's because it requires strategy. You can make it easier, you can boost party damage, you can lower enemy HP, but that strategy is still required, and that is what makes it a good and challenging game even with the difficulty options, without taking away creative expression. Anyway, this video has just sort of been a jumble of disjointed ideas. I think now would be a really good time to actually start the point of the video. For many years, people have been wondering if video games are art. Now, yes, they are, or more specifically, they can be. Like any medium, there are clear pieces of art. Like with movies, there are films like King of Comedy, Taxi Driver, The End of Evangelion, Scott Pilgrim, The World's End, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, or Spider-Man 2 for that meaning, or The Room. These are all examples of art, but there are also movies that are terrible, such as Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which just genuinely is not funny, or The Room. Point is, some things can be art, yet others aren't. Movies aren't inherently art, paintings aren't inherently art, and video games are no exception to this rule. SMT is my favourite example of this, because while I may think Atlus as a company is much like Game Freak, meaning they're incompetent idiots who haven't made a single good game in years, damn did they used to make some good ass games, those being the SMT series, and for me, more specifically SMT4, because I never finished Strange Journey, and I'm going through 3 at the moment, so I don't really want to give it a place in the rankings just yet. SMT is famous for one thing, and that's its difficulty. And while I do love how difficult it is, I often find that it has overshadowed what's really amazing about the games: the story. Now that's a controversial take, because people would tend to think that the story is bad because it's lacking in character development, and to that I say, kiss my ass. No it isn't. SMT has made me ask some of the most important ethical quandaries I have ever had to answer, and I love it for that. These games have sad, morbid stories that are not scared to alienate you, and I feel that the game being difficult, and this alienating and antagonizing nature that these games have towards the player, makes people unwilling to play them. Striving to make these true, raw stories in believable worlds caused the player base to not want to be part of it, because we are monkey men who like to play unbelievably easy games. Sorry, I mean Pokemon. And another example would be Dangonronpa, which sacrifices its appeal to gamers by having an incredibly long and boring story and having the stupidest characters in a video game I have ever seen in my entire life. You people are dumb, I hate you, why do you keep asking stupid questions that have nothing to do with the murder? Who cares why there was fucking... It's so forgettable, I can't even come up with an example, but all I think about is Hero having his burger get stolen by aliens. It's amazing, I love him. Recently I started playing Omori, and that's actually what made me want to make this video. Not because it's alienating its players, hell no, everyone who's played it loves it and you should play it too. But be warned, the story only really picks up after a few hours. No, before I bought it, I saw several reviews comparing it to Lisa, which is a wonderfully fun, delightful game about a man who lives in a world where all women disappeared and men have given in to their sinful desires, where he is constantly tormented by his memories of his abusive father, and where he finds a baby girl, quite probably the only baby girl. He takes it upon himself to protect her no matter what if it isolates her from the world, deprives her of happiness, and eventually turns him into a monster, not only quite like his father, but quite worse, because, you know, he murders a lot of people, like 1,000.
That's a lot.
So yeah, a fun, delightful game for all the family. Now, I have recommended this game to so many people, and most of them have been turned away from its difficult gameplay, slightly similar to the difficulty of SMT, grotesque imagery, or very real characters. And I get it, with all these examples. I get how you could hear about these great experiences and be downtrodden because you just can't jive with the type of gameplay. There have been plenty of games like that for me. I've been told to play Slay the Spire more times than I can count, or Gwent or Hearthstone, and I just can't get it. I've played Magic the Gathering before, I've played the old Pokemon card game, but no matter what, I just don't enjoy it. And even though my friends are playing it and I want to join in and play with them, I just can't get it. Same thing with RTS games, or turn-based strategy games, like Fire Emblem, or the Total War games, or Red Alert.
Space!
I just can't play them. But I think that even though these games aren't my thing, even though these are great experiences that I'll never have, guess what? Shut up, you beta cuck neckbeard redditor. Even though you can't play it, doesn't mean you can just drag everyone else down. That's why the Rad Brad exists. Go back to your 4chan cave where you tier 3 sub to Alinity and jerk off to our bending over. Sorry, that was directed to very specific people on Twitter. Don't worry about it. Anyway, another example of this is actually Cyberpunk, oddly enough. Not because it's got weird mechanics or it's designed in a way to alienate people, but because it's just so goddamn broken. Now, I love this game, please go watch my review of it, but it was as broken as Benjamin Button at launch. And while it's a great game, granted with far too little to do in it, the state it was launched in stopped millions of people from experiencing the fantastic world of Night City, the wonderful characters, and all the features that the game has. Yeah, I don't know how to end this video. You see that big red subscribe button? Yeah? You know how you like pressing big red buttons that you really shouldn't be pressing? Well, this is one that you should be pressing. So go and press it, please. And only press it once, don't unsubscribe. I would appreciate it if you subscribe to me. And that was it. I would love that, please. Thank you. Okay, bye. Have a nice night. Love you. What the fuck is this channel?